You're listening to Podcast PXN,
a video game podcast,
delivering player experience news.
Let's go! What is up, guys, and welcome to Podcast PXN, episode 289. I am one of your hosts, Daniel Prindle, aka Dan is DTM on Twitter, and I am joined over Discord by the Nintendo aficionado and hardcore casual himself, Roshan Warner at Roro.
Hello. Today is the day. The Switch 2 could be potentially yours.
For the low price.
but not in your hands.
Not in your hands. You could secure one to hopefully get in your hands someday.
That's true. Unless your retailer of choice loses the package in transit and then you have to go buy it from scalpers instead, like, Dan had to do with his Halo Infinite console. Fucking Target.
That is a very likely possibility.
Did you get your money back from Target?
Oh, yeah, they refunded me, but I was fucked.
You had to pay the surcharge for the scalpers, right?
Right. Yeah. Just bullshit. So mad. Anyways, fuck scalpers. That other voice is the host of Large Popcorn and video producer at The Gamer, Christian Macias at ISO Christian.
I agree. I'm also not a fan of scalpers. I'm with you.
Sean can attest on how many consoles I bought and he bought from me for his friends. So at retail price.
I don't like when companies buy concert tickets as they do the bot thing and then they resell those tickets. You know what I mean? Or they give those to their company employees or whatever. Because then you have to scalp, go through third parties. It's rough.
Indeed. Manipulating the market there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you to everyone that is watching us live on YouTube and Twitch and participating in the chat. Just as a reminder, we are live each and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time on youtube.com/@podcastpxn and twitch.tv/podcastpxn as well. The topic of the show this week, guys, is Clair Obscur Expedition 33 and The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, that is a mouthful, are both out now, or very soon. Clair Obscur tomorrow. But they're going head-to-head in a big RPG head-to-head. I don't know. But we're going to go into some news surrounding both of them and how one of them is doing critically right now. The other one still has reviews to come. But first up here, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered was officially announced and stealth dropped the same day. And it is available now. Get ready, people. It's back. It was stealth dropped, except we knew this for weeks because of leaks.
Well, what can you do?
What can you do? So overall impressions of the game from the first look that we got, I think there was a lot of interesting dialogue surrounding this game because before we really knew anything about the game, when it was being leaked, the name was leaked as Remastered, and a lot of people saw this reveal and were like, man, is this a remaster or is this a remake? And I think I am more on the side of this looks like a fucking remake than a remaster, because not only the visual side of things, but they also touched a lot of gameplay elements, and the game was literally built in Unreal Engine 5. So it is interesting that they called it remastered versus remake. I don't know. Do you guys have thoughts on that before we go into Bethesda's reasoning behind it?
I do, but they're informed on the Bethesda's reasoning, so...
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
So I'll just wait to say them after the fact.
Okay.
As someone who hasn't played the original game, the footage that I have seen does make it look like it's a new game. Like I don't know how to explain. Like I've seen a lot of remasters, and I could tell that they're remasters. And of course, we've seen a lot of remakes, and you could tell that they're built from the ground up. And again, I haven't played the original, so maybe that's like a blind spot for me looking at the footage. But if I were to see this without the knowledge that it's a remaster, I would think it was like a new game that is worth a player's money in this day and age, if that makes any sense. Like it doesn't look like it's like a remake of an old game or a remaster of an old game to me, for what I've seen in the trailers.
For sure.
Like
Yeah,
it looks
okay,
like
maybe-
part of like Avowed, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, which is a new game built for this console generation.
I don't see this explicitly said in the article. From my understanding, is I was totally on Dan's side, where like this looks way more like a remake than a remaster. But then apparently, I think the creation engine is still it's still like the Oblivion source code that is running the game, but it's game development is crazy. I don't know how any of this works, but it's Unreal Engine over that. However that works, that is doing the bulk of the graphical work. Where it gets really interesting is what Dan said, is like there are tweaks to the gameplay, even though it's the same source code. So like it's kind of vague there. Like I don't know what that necessarily is, what tweaks they did there. But if it's the original code, then I guess that's how you get the technical remaster side of it, as opposed to remake.
For sure. Yes. Let me read Bethesda's official comment here, and we can kind of take from that. But Bethesda says, it's been thrilling for all of us here at Bethesda to revisit a game so close to our hearts with Oblivion Remastered. When we started this project in 2021, we aimed to breathe new life into a chapter of the Elder Scrolls that set the path for so many of our games after it. We never wanted to remake it, but remaster it, where the original game was there as you remember playing it, but seen through today's technology. We were so fortunate to work with an unbelievable team and partners at Virtuous. Even though we had worked together before, we had never attempted something on this scale. Every piece of art, animation, special effects, and part of the world would be remastered. Some new voices would be recorded while keeping the originals there as well. Game systems were updated to feel better in your hands. Leveling systems modified for smoother progression and balance. We looked at every part and carefully upgraded it. But most of all, we never wanted to change the core. It's still a game from a previous era, and it should feel like one. We know many of our longtime fans will be thrilled to revisit Oblivion and the Land of Cyrodiil, but there are also so many who have never played it. We can't thank you enough for all the support you have given us and our games over the years. Our hope with this remaster is that no matter who you are, when you step out of the Imperial sewer, you feel like you're experiencing it for the first time. We can't wait to hear about your adventures. Yeah, so it is interesting. I hadn't seen what you said, Christian, but that I could see that. I could definitely see that happening, where they took like the base code of the original and the creation engine and kind of set Unreal Engine on top of that. It's similar to what they did. Not they, but it's similar to what happened with the Master Chief Collection. Yes, I know. Here we go. Back to Halo again. But it is similar to what they did with the Master Chief Collection, because there is a lot of elements of Unreal Engine 4 that are used in that game, but it's still utilizing all of the original game engines as well. So maybe something similar in this case, where Unreal Engine is maybe powering the visuals, and then like the backhand stuff, or the back-end stuff, is kind of handled by the old creation engine to kind of make it still feel like Oblivion did all those years ago.
The coolest thing about this is that you get to see clips of like old exploits still working, mods being uploaded with very little work to get them running on like the current hardware, stuff like that, where it's like, yeah, I guess it really does look and feel like the old game if that's the case, just with a new coat of paint.
Absolutely. The only thing that I care about is how is Fantasy Critic. dictating this game because I need the points. So we'll see what happens there.
Well, I think the way we have it in our rules, it's like we have remasters and partial remakes as what do you call illegal tags?
Right.
So you can pick it up.
Well, but I already have it picked up is the problem. So that's my question. How are they going to classify it? Because they haven't, as far well, we'll get to Fantasy Critic in a second, I guess. We can wait on that. That'll be the discussion for a little bit, I guess.
Oh, it's tagged as remake in
Right.
Fantasy Critic so far.
Right. So it is a fine line, I think. I think it's interesting. It's interesting. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Hang on. There has also been a peak of 182,298 players recorded on Steam alone for this game, which is insane. That's a really good day one number there for peak concurrent players. That's really good just for Steam. Yes, and you were talking about mods before, Christian, on both sides of it here. Props to the Oblivion team here. They gifted the team behind the Sky Oblivion mod free game keys for Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, which is very cool. Sky Oblivion was one of the most popular Oblivion mods. So cool that they handed them this. Yeah.
I have a direct quote from Fantasy Critic if you want it now or you want me to wait.
Let's wait till we get to Fantasy Critic.
Okay.
So that was cool. But then also, mods aren't officially supported in Oblivion Remastered. However, when, things happen, life finds a way. Sorry, that was a great Jurassic Park reference right there. Nobody laughed except Ro. And I said that really weirdly. I should have just said Ro laugh and Christian. And I was normally phrasing that if Gage was here, but anyways.
Here's my Gage impression. Right.
Right. All right. So they're not supported. However, someone has already built a working VR mod for Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, which is insane. That quickly.
I would love to play this game that way. I only ever played like 5 to 10 hours of Oblivion and back in the day. I actually played a post Skyrim. But I remember playing RE4 in VR and being really immersive. It was a cool experience. I never beat it that way, but it was cool enough to play for a couple hours. I would love to play Oblivion like this, especially in what's supposed to be one of the best RPGs ever. Just walking around exploring could be cool.
Would be cool. Man, I'd love to play RE4 remake in VR.
It's scary.
All right. The last bit here for Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. We are back to 2006 because they are also introducing paid horse armor, which is returning in the form of the deluxe edition. So to caveat that, it isn't just horse armor. You get for an extra $10 on top of the base game price, which I think this game's $50, I believe, $60 for the deluxe. You get new quests for unique armors, extra weapon options, a digital art book, a soundtrack app, and yes, horse armor. And you get 2 sets of horse armor. So a little bit more than what Oblivion's original horse armor was, but there nonetheless.
They changed the industry with this. For the worse, some would say.
Somebody had to do it. Somebody had
to do it. Someone had to be the bad guy. You're right.
All right. So Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, a Game Pass game, remember. Another Game Pass game, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 has released as well as of tomorrow. And a lot of reviews are in and saying that this game is very good. It's kind of giving me not quite to this level, but very close to the level of the Baldur's Gate 3 hype, because a lot of people were hyping up that game, and that was, I would say, a similarly sized team making that game in terms of number of developers. And obviously Baldur's Gate 3 was, top tier. I think that Clair Obscur is like right on their heels.
I don't know about that.
Well, in
Baldur's
terms
Gate
of
3
reviews.
was in like in review, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that game was in beta for like a really long time, working with Wizards of the Coast.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That hype was astronomical for a long time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
D&D, known property, Expedition 33, not quite so.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Just comparing the quality and comparing the studio size, they're very similarly sized studios. Smaller teams, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And they just love RPGs, and I love that they were able to make something like really good out of such a small team, and like they clearly have passion for it, and it shows why reviewers are lauding this game as a very good game. And it does beg the question. We were talking a little bit about this in our group chat, whether Elder Scrolls releasing the same week as Expedition 33, if that's a bad move, because they're kind of going to cannibalize each other a little bit. Oblivion more so than Clair Obscur will cannibalize because of the IP, I think. But I don't know. What do you guys think about this? My only thoughts were, when we were talking about this in the chat, was I feel like the people that are invested and interested in Clair Obscur Expedition 33, I don't think that Oblivion coming out this week affects their decision to get that game or not, or play the game through Game Pass. So that aspect, I don't think will be affected. However, if there is like the desire to get new players, that would probably definitely affect the new players being interested in that.
Which is where my concern was. Your question though is interesting though. Like, does it like what did you say earlier? Oh, you said something.
About Clair Obscur versus Oblivion?
It was Game Pass, and I think that's
that's
the one I think that's the one thing to keep in mind, is like, depends on whose perspective. Because if it's Microsoft's perspective, then absolutely not. Because having one of the highest Metacritic reviewed games of the year, as well as a full remaster, one of the like biggest games of all time, on your service the same week, is huge. Because if they think about subscriber counts, right, and they want subscribers to go up, like, that is the reason to sub, to get games like these on the service. So that's probably a win for them. But for me, I think about the small indie team who's putting out a first-time game, their first game as a studio, with a brand new IP that is an RPG with a more niche genre.
Absolutely.
And then and they made the deal with Microsoft to be part of Game Pass. And then, well, not your parent company, your publisher, I guess, in a certain regard, or your partner, decides to stealth drop another RPG 2 to 3 days before the release of your game. I would be slighted. I would feel like this is extremely crummy, because now you would hope to have eyes on this game that is now reviewed well, but people are going to be too busy playing the other game to give it the attention. And that, I think, would, if I was a member of that team, I'd be like, that sucks. I mean, I guess you would get it because Xbox has more games in the summer. There's big games in the fall coming. You don't want to be in the way of GTA. When do you drop Oblivion? There's no real right answer, probably. So I guess, now when it's kind of quieter would make sense. But you got to feel for the team of 30 people to now have to compete against a Bethesda RPG. Is the way I kind of fall on the side of the fence.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I hope the success of the game or the critics success helps them on other platforms, and it's good that they're everywhere or most places. And as Christian said, the people that are hopping on Game Pass for Skyrim, hopefully they give it a try eventually. Even though we know, in some cases, even though you're successful and you get a lot of players and people like your game, it doesn't really uh, necessarily mean that you're safe, but it definitely helps. So I hope the Oblivion doesn't overshadow them too much. But yeah, again, there's other places that they're available as well. So hopefully those people can still play it. But again, Skyrim is also available in most of those places too. So yeah,
For sure. Yeah, I think, and my initial reaction was, as I said in the chat when we were talking about it, the idea that it's such a different RPG that you have to be into turn-based RPGs to be into Clair Obscur, but also that's not necessarily a fair take for people that are looking to expand what types of games they're interested in. So, like, after you guys said that, just thinking about it more, like, why didn't Microsoft just push back Oblivion 1 month, 1 month-ish, and just stealth drop it after their Xbox event in the summer for their E3 event? Like, that probably would have been a pretty easy win for them during that time as well.
Yeah, the only counter there is like, what if they already have something planned?
That's true.
It's stealth, because usually they do some kind of, maybe it's a smaller game, but I guess they would want eyes on their on a possible stealth drop in the summer.
That is true. Hollow Knight.
That would be kind of insane, wouldn't it?
That would be, yeah.
Yeah, that's my take as well, Dan. Is like, you would hope to be pulling in a new audience who otherwise maybe is kind of on the fence about trying out a turn-based RPG with a game like this, because it's also like real time. It's not turn-based in the fact that like you push a button and you watch it happen. You have to, like, when the enemy's attacking you, you have to be dodging or parrying, or there's multiple mechanics in play. So it feels like it's like real-time turn-based, which is interesting. But yeah, man, like, people were kind of suspicious about a poker roguelike game, a card game, as Game of the Year last year. Like, what are you talking about? And then they try it out and it's like, whoa, this is really good. And I didn't think I'd be into this. And you would hope to get more people trying out new games as often as we can.
Absolutely.
Do not read TikTok comments, by the way.
Oh, why? What
about
happened?
any sort of game. Any sort of game.
Oh.
Those are like I think that's where you have like the worst gaming takes. Maybe even worse than Twitter sometimes or TikTok comments.
Insane. Tom Warren posted this, so I just threw it in here because I did think it was kind of crazy when he spelled it out here. Game Pass this year is insane. We've had Oblivion Remastered, Blueprints, South of Midnight, Expedition 33, Doom the Dark Ages coming out here in a few weeks, and he also put Tony Hawk 3+4 in July, but sure. But like that many games in the first 6 months of the year is insane. That's crazy.
Where's the Tom Warren tweet? Where did I put that? Yeah, especially with now 2 of them being, I guess 3. I guess Indiana Jones, I guess, is technically,
yeah, I didn't
could be
say
considered a Game of the Year. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But it falls under the Jeff Keighley Game of the Year timeline.
True. And it did come
be
the PlayStation. Yeah.
Possible Game of the Year nominees is pretty huge. You look at this and you can't help. Obviously, I compare it to competition. It's like the PlayStation Plus games are fine; those are all well and good. But like in terms of the service, the premium service that you get games every month for free, does not even come close. Is not even touching what Microsoft is outputting through Game Pass, or Games Pass, as others like to say it.
Yeah, he's listening right now, cursing at us.
One game missing from this is also about too. Like I know,
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, what the fuck?
smaller game, but that's
Still a great game.
kind of a big RPG.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or a good game, I guess, to use the correct vernacular. All right. That is our topic of the show, guys. 2 great games.
I have thoughts on something that I don't see anywhere here.
Okay.
Because I know you and I have thoughts on this. I'll just add this. We can put it.
Go ahead. Add it. Oh. Yes.
I have thoughts on the code distribution.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Yes, you're right.
Yes. Do you want to just go ahead and jump into that?
Please.
Okay.
Please.
So, yes, the Marathon Alpha started today. And yes, the signups kicked off last week, I think, after the reveal event. And then essentially their sign-up process, they direct you to Discord. You sign into the Discord, which I was already part of because the whole ARG thing, the ARG turned into the Marathon Discord, which was kind of a cool thing in of itself. But anyways, you have to sign up for access to the alpha from Discord. They send you a link. You fill out the form essentially that they ask you some questions, and then you submit it. And yes, it's kind of just up in the air. They weren't really clear on how you got access. They just said fill this out and you have a chance for alpha access. And then they distributed some priority access codes, which didn't even guarantee you access to the alpha. If you got one of those, it made your chances better, which, yeah, a very interesting way to do it. And I say interesting, I mean like not great, not a great way to do it.
Kind of a sour first impression for the people who are really trying to get their hands on this and try it out. From what I've seen, like I know Paul Tassie's pretty big in the Bungie space, and I've seen other content creators with their audience. They all put out tweets like, did you get a code for Marathon? Resounding no's from all the polls. I voted on them, and like nearly 90% in all the polls that I've seen. And then from the gameplay that I have seen clips of on Twitter, it seems like a lot of people who did get codes are like current content creators and streamers.
Oh, for sure.
Which is kind of a bummer, I think. Not to say that like it's a bad thing that you have popular streamers checking out your game and sharing it. That's obviously huge for getting it eyes on for more people. But also like I would want to cater to the actual fan base as well and make sure you have like real people playing the game and have real feedback as opposed to streamers who play the game for a couple of while. They sweat. They sometimes can change the game for the worse, and it's not reflective of what the player base thinks. So I was really bummed. And then I saw today as well that even the servers couldn't handle the amount of people that were getting in because there was like server crashes or whatever. Like an error has occurred and people weren't able to log into the servers, which is a bummer. But yeah, just kind of off to a flat start.
Yes. I suspect that because not a lot of people have talked about this, but they completely redid all of the networking for this game. It doesn't use the same networking that Destiny uses. It's all dedicated servers, brand new for this game. And I suspect that they didn't want to have a massive amount of people in this first test because it was gonna break essentially. So that makes sense why it's so limited. But yes, to your point, they are sending out a lot of codes to streamers and content creators, and not even just big ones, because like there's a bunch of Halo streamers that I follow that I'm close into the community with, and they got codes too. Like random ass fucking like they get like 15 viewers per stream or something like that. Like they got codes. And I suspect that maybe they did that to try to get as many eyes on the game, which to your point, it's not necessarily the best approach because a lot of these content creators that are playing these other games, they probably may not care about Marathon. It's not the same game that they're used to. But I don't know. I'm still hopeful at some point. Maybe this is a pipe dream, but I'm hopeful that somewhere near the end of the alpha, because it lasts for like a week-ish. Can't remember the exact timing, but I'm hopeful that the last day or the last 2 days they say, all right, everybody come in like that wants to. But I don't know if they're going to do that because there's rumors that they're also going to have a beta, which is going to be open to everyone. So I don't know. We'll see. I do wish that, and I know I got made fun of for this. That's perfectly fine. I was owed the the being made fun of, but I do wish that they had prioritized some people that like have invested in their community for so long, because like people have been with Bungie for a long time. There's people that have accounts with Bungie since the Halo days. And again, I'm not saying Dan, but I mean, I am saying Dan. I mean, there's people that have accounts that are 20-year-old Bungie accounts, Bungie.net accounts, and you know, they're just like, well, it's random chance. All right.
Random.
Right. Random with a quote, yeah. Anyways. Yes, that's the Marathon Alpha news. I was trying to keep that out of my brain because it just makes me sad to think about not being able to play it, but thank you for putting that in because
I wanted to talk about it.
No, for sure. Yeah, we do need to talk about it, for sure. I've been watching gameplay ever since I got home from work on Twitch.
No, so I'm waiting.
That's fair. All right, moving on here to the next PXN. I don't even think I said that we're going into the PXN News of the Week. Here we are. We're in the PXN News of the Week. The second item here is Mario Kart World Direct details have come out from last week's event. Happened right after our recording of our episode last week. So to talk about this here, I pulled up the Nintendo site that kind of conglomerates it all here. In an interconnected world, drift, draft, and drive. This was the wrong fucking article to choose. God damn it, Nintendo. What is drift, draft, and drive? Your way around an interconnected world for the first time in a Mario Kart game. In Mario Kart World, the game's courses are interspersed across the world with roads leading from one to the next so players can experience navigating roads in between courses. The Grand Prix they showed off, it's consisting of 4 different races to win in each cup, including the Mushroom Cup, Flower Cup, Star Cup, and more, held across the game's world. And for the first time in the series, racers will need to drive from one course to the next as part of the Grand Prix. In Mushroom Cup, for example, you'll start off racing the Mario Brothers circuit, then the second race will have you covering the distance from Mario Brothers circuit to Crown City. You can conquer every Grand Prix Cup, and you might unlock a colorful course. Rainbow Road, I'm assuming. Then they talk... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I say you're correct.
Yes, thank you. They love bringing in Rainbow Road. Then they showed off Knockout Tour, which is racing from one end of the world to the other in these extended rallies with checkpoints dotted throughout. If you don't make the cut, you're out of the running, so buckle up for these non-stop sprints because you'll need to keep pace in order to stay in the race. Your rivals' vehicles aren't the only hazards you need to avoid on the road either. Vehicles that shoot bullet bills, hammer bros, attacks, and other obstacles will find their way into this mode as well. Drive to survive. Scary. Free roam. There is plenty to discover in Mario Kart World that goes beyond racing. When you're not aiming for first place, take the scenic route in free roam. Explore panoramic vistas, go way off-road, see the seas, and find secret secrets like hidden coins or hit P switches to take on hundreds of missions that can help improve your driving skills outside of races. You can also take photos while free roaming, so take a road trip and strike a pose at the sites. I will tell you, just to interject real quick, I am not completely sold on this game's open world free roam. I don't know. It feels very empty to me. We'll see, I guess.
Okay. I could understand why, because you're going outside of the track, I guess, and maybe they didn't put in as much quote unquote love into those areas.
Or like what's
but I like to yeah, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, what's the draw to like do the free roam?
Do the free roam?
Yeah.
Well, there are side missions and what is it, like the in-game achievement system,
like collectibles and stuff.
If you're someone who's like a completionist, you can look at that stuff. Like, I'm sure it's a decently designed open world, but obviously the main draw is the courses themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Then again, though, like with part of the Grand Prix, if you have if you have it on that option where you have to race to the next area, like knowing the open road section might help you get to the next race faster, and now you're in a better starting position.
I could absolutely see like people using the free roam to make like their own sort of games and modes as well, just like as a party thing. Because I know career, right? People used to do that, or at least I used to do that with my friends in City Trial. Just like ignore the mode that you're playing, just do whatever you wanted. So I guess you could do that too with the free roam option.
Very interesting. Okay. We also got to look at battle mode. Battle mode is back and more hectic than ever. Secure the gold by collecting the most coins in coin runners or burst your rivals' balloons with items in balloon battle. If you pop all of your rivals' balloons, they're out. There's new techniques, leap over obstacles and more with the new charge jump move. Use it to jump onto rails that you can grind, dodge attacks from your rivals, and even jump toward a wall to ride on it for a short time. You can also chain together wall rides to uncover hidden routes. Miss your mark during single-player free roamer races, just use rewind to reset your vehicle to its original position, which is a great way to undo a driving mishap. But keep in mind that your rivals will still move normally while rewinding, so try not to lose your lead. 24-player races, which we've already talked about before. There's more ways to play. Up to 4 players can race split screen on the same console. The game also supports local wireless play where up to 8 players with up to 2 players per Switch 2 console can race together. And players from around the world can join a race or battle in online play. In free roam, you can also meet up with your crew anywhere in the game's world. Drive around, see where your friends are on the map, and warp to them instantly. Then race, battle with custom rules, or take a road trip to see the sites together. Okay, that's pretty cool. I didn't realize that part. You can do like custom rules and meet up with friends. That's pretty cool. Even more fun with game chat. You got game chat. We've talked about that.
It looks like ass.
You get your picture at the bottom. If you have a Nintendo Switch 2 camera sold separately, your face will show up beside your racer and you can see your friends' reactions when you're playing online because everyone wants their face plastered online all the time.
My goodness. That's for online play too, or is it just local?
I believe that, yeah, that's online when you play online.
Jeez.
Yeah.
With friends, not like
with friends.
It
Yeah,
does
I don't
say
think with randoms.
Yeah, it does say friends, yeah.
Because you'd have to be in a game chat to see those faces.
Right.
True, yeah.
True.
Yeah, if you fucking did that with randoms, that might get a little crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Crazy. It won't be your face, that's for sure.
Oh.
That is not what they'll be recording.
Yeah. It may not be.
Yep.
Okay.
It's disgusting.
Courses. Mario Kart World has many races to enjoy across its vast world. Brand new courses like Mario Brothers Circuit, Modern Streets of Crown City, the Snowy Trails of Starview Peak, and the Spirited Boost Cinema, just to name a few. There's also nostalgic courses from previous Mario Kart games as well. We talked about Rainbow Road being one of those unlocks. Characters get behind the wheel as familiar Mushroom Kingdom characters like Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Bowser. Looking for a racer that's a little more offbeat, try taking Goomba, Spike, and even Cow for a test drive. I'm sure there's going to be more than that, right? More characters. Items. Tear up the track with a selection of new and returning items. Throw a coin shell to knock rivals off course and make coins appear that gradually increase the speed of whoever collects them. Chill out the competition and send them spinning with the ice flower. Bring down the hammer to nail your rival or briefly block their path. Use a mega mushroom to grow big and squash your rivals. Leap to new heights with the feather. Call in Kamek's magic to transform your rivals into something surprising and cause unexpected chaos on the course. The lower your position, the more likely you'll receive items that could turn the tables. So when you get something good, go for it. Drive through and roll out. Make a pit stop at Yoshi's for a local delight, Dash Food. These to-go orders will give you a speed boost and sometimes also unlock outfits that can be donned from the character selection screen. Even more modes. There are more ways to stoke some friendly competition. Race against the clock and time trials, where players can go online to compete against ghost data from racers around the world. And you can customize the rules of the road in Versus Race, where drivers can decide if they want to compete in 2, 3, or 4 teams with a classic 3-lap rule set or by driving from one course to another. And the last bit here, looking for some options to assist you on race day. Features like smart steering keep you on course, auto accelerate and tilt controls for motion control steering. And plus, if you have the Joy-Con 2 wheel accessory, you can feel like you're really driving. It's fucking Nintendo. These fucking... All right.
Nice.
Ro, would you like to go first? Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, I think the game still looks cool to me. I love how open and a lot of the options that the tracks have. I'm assuming there's some returning courses because I saw like a ski mountain one, which looks like Mount Wario. But even those returning courses look like they changed some stuff about it. Like there was a scene where I saw the racer like on the wires of a ski lift, and like in the distance you could see like other racers not on the ski lift, like taking other paths. And I just think that's really cool to see, like that there's so many different options to get to the finish line. So I always love that. I always like the shortcuts and finding out what's the most ideal way to go. The items, they look cool. Some of them are like just like a iteration on stuff that we've seen before. It's not all of them are super exciting, but I think the hammer one's kind of cool. I like how it stays in the road for a little bit after you throw it, so potentially somebody might hit it even if you miss it. But yeah, I'm excited. I like what I see. I like what I see.
Yeah, this direct quelled a lot of my worries about the game. Mostly with like the tech aspect of the game. I think the introduction of the grinding and the wall driving is much needed when like people were worried about like, are the tracks too simple? They were showing clips of just exactly what you said. Like there are people going the normal route and there are other people going the alternative, like some of the alternative routes where like someone was grinding and in the distance someone was like wall riding in a different area, and like there are multiple paths to like continue the track. I'm like, oh, okay, this is a lot more involved than just like drifting left and right or like driving straight down this kind of bigger road, and which is my biggest worry about it. And like just seeing that immediately out the window. I'm like, okay, cool. Which makes me excited to see a lot of the new tracks that they're working with because they look kind of insane. I just hope they're all as involved as some of these clips make it out to be. Because I know that DK1 was like part of the races on the world part, and then once you get to the actual track is when the lap 3 starts, but it's like a long lap 3. Like, okay, I want to see how that plays out, but I think that might just be with certain modes. And then the other thing is that I saw people were working out the map size of the game, judging off the map that they show when they show the overworld. Like, it's big, obviously, but they were like, how, are there rooms to expand it with DLC and add tracks further down the line? And what I think people worked out is that, like, well, the game is called Mario Kart World, and it looks like this is just one continent of the map. And they, like, kind of overlaid it with the logo of the game, and it kind of seemed like, yeah, this is just one continent on the map from the logo, and they might include more later on, more continents that way. And let us not forget, a lot of the 3D and 2D Mario games, when you unlock the special courses, you always go up into the clouds or into space for the Star Road or whatever, so they could expand upwards as well, which would be cool.
Very cool.
I'm happy for you guys.
Dan hates it.
I don't hate it. No, I don't hate it. I mean, part of the problem is I'm not like a massive Mario Kart fan. Like, I enjoy Mario Kart. I'm not like a super massive Mario Kart fan. So it's like, I look at the gameplay from this game and I'm like, personally can't tell the difference between this and Mario Kart 8, which is like,
that's crazy.
Which it's also because, like I said, I don't play a ton of Mario Kart. Like Mario Kart 8, I've probably played like, if I were to look at my Switch right now, I've probably played like 3 hours of that game, and I'm not kidding. So,
damn.
I don't know.
No, I think I played all the Mario Karts.
Yeah. Well, Glenn is very excited because he's in the chat with all caps saying, "It's gonna take everything in myself not to buy this at launch."
Don't do it.
It looks so good, though.
It does look kind of fun. Huh?
Does it look $80 good?
Oh, there was a game that got announced for Switch too. Oh.
No. What game? What happened?
It's a port of a game. Star Wars Outlaw. That game looks like shit on Switch.
Oh. That's not good.
Oh, no.
Is that coming to Switch or Switch 2?
Switch 2.
Oh, wow. And it doesn't look good. That's not good. Oh boy. All right. Our last news of the week item. Oh, hang on. Glenn wrote one more thing. That's because he's always afraid he's going to get crushed.
That's Stan.
Wow. Wow, Glenn.
Bro, did you play into the 200cc on 8 Deluxe?
I played a bit of it. I never got all like the 3-star trophies.
I almost did, but it was hard.
It was hard. It was really hard. It was fun, but really hard.
Glenn's still fighting in the chat. Yeah, Daniel, it will be $80. Good. You know how long we've been waiting for a new Mario Kart. We've had the same Mario Kart since the Wii U.
That does make it worse.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I know,
That
Glenn.
is true. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why they can do it. And a lot of people will buy it, but it doesn't make it good. It doesn't make it good at all.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Rough.
All right. Our last news item here, another Nintendo item here. Tomorrow is the new pre-order date for the Nintendo Switch 2, which, if you're listening to this on podcast form, it's already available for pre-order. Many retailers are starting at midnight, and the price of the console was announced to be the same as when they originally announced it. However, they did announce that accessories were getting price changes across the board. A lot of them were $5 increases, but there was, I believe the dock set was a $10 increase. So increases across the board on accessories definitely sucks. But at least the console didn't go up even more because people were already complaining about the price of the console.
I bet Glenn can't wait to spend $5 to $10 more.
He wants to play Mario Kart at peak form with the wheel that costs $40.
Hey, that was me with the Wii. I had the wheel. That was so fun.
God.
You do like this to do the wheelies.
My parents bought the fucking Wii wheel. Like, the Wii was my dad's. That was the first console he ever bought for himself, and only console he's ever bought for himself. Wow. And yeah, he bought the fucking wheel and all that shit, and I'm just like, why? Why? But fair enough to people who enjoy that. I will not hate on you. I will just hate on my father. Sorry, father. All right. And then also, Rose sent this in our chat. 2.2 million applications have been submitted to pre-order the Nintendo Switch 2 in Japan. And Nintendo is saying that the number far exceeds our expectations and far exceeds the number of Nintendo Switch 2 consoles that can be delivered from the My Nintendo store on June 5th. So basically, Nintendo's saying, we're fucked.
You're not getting them. I don't exactly know how the lottery system works exactly, but even though they received 2.2 million, I think you guys know, like their applications, they technically haven't pre-ordered anything yet. They're just hoping for a chance to pre-order. So I guess they'll obviously give the appropriate amount of pre-orders to the people, or for the Switches that they have. Yeah.
They're gonna give it to streamers and content creators.
Oh my god!
No.
Look at him, dude. He wants to go out. No, he wants to play.
Oh, Buck. He was out a lot today. He was out a lot today. Right when I got home from work, he went out there and didn't come back in. Nice out. Yes. There we have it. PXN News of the Week. Let's jump into the quick bites here. We have just 3 items here that were from last week we didn't have time for. The Last of Us Complete Edition Shadow dropped as a surprise bundle for PS5. So you can now buy The Last of Us another time, which combines both The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 remastered in one package.
Makes you think, why didn't they just do that to begin with?
Money. Lots of money. Our next quick bite, Speedrunners 2 King of Speed has been announced. They have revealed it. Obviously is still a competitive 2D platformer for up to 8 players. It is online and local play, easy to learn, hard to master, and it is a sequel to a very positive reviewed hit. And I will say, I love the original game.
Who didn't like that game when we played it? Was it Gage?
I think so, because he sucked at it.
Yeah, that makes sense. This game was fun. I will be happy to try out the second one.
Hell yeah. You can wishlist it now, coming in 2026. Let's go.
Oh, that's a ways away out. Damn.
It is, yeah. All right. Our last item here from last week, Doom: The Dark Ages got some accessories announced. There's an Doom controller and a Elite 2 version of the Doom controller, as well as an Xbox Series X wrap. The fucking Elite 2 controller looks sick, but those fucking controllers are too damn inconsistent. I'm not fucking buying another special edition one because it fucking, when it breaks a week later, I'm gonna be pissed.
You could buy it and collect it or display it.
I could, but you know, if I'm buying it, I'm gonna use it. Like my fucking Halo Infinite branded one that I bought, and then a month later the B button stopped working on it. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And you can't send it in for repair because if you do, you won't get the special edition back. So it's like
That sucks.
yeah. All right. This week's Quick Bites, Star Wars Zero Company has been announced coming in 2026. This is the game from EA, Respawn, and Bit Reactor. And this is the tactics Star Wars game that we've been hearing about for a long while, and we got an official announcement for it.
This will be neat. Very curious to see how this one shakes out. I think former XCOM devs working on this game as well.
I was gonna say this looks like XCOM.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Cool.
Very cool. And then our next quick bite from this week, Ghost of Yotei is officially releasing on October 2nd on PS5, and we got a brand new trailer, a new look at the game as well.
$70.
$70.
No price increase.
Rose all in on it.
Let's go. I gotta get a PS5 first.
That
But
is true.
it does look cool. I did really enjoy the first one, so I'm down for some more Ghost for sure.
Hell yeah. And then our last quick bite, The Last of Us episode 2 on HBO has dropped, and our thoughts. What's our thoughts?
Quick thoughts without spoilers. I liked the episode. Just like the first episode, there were some things that were weird changes in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think most people agree, but I saw some takes online looking at other people's opinions, and I could see how it could be interesting. With certain people being where they were and where they weren't.
Right.
For the story, to see how that plays out. And just, we talked about it last week, how comparing it to the original, that's always going to be the problem that this and that these types of shows run into. But some of the lines were like, "Oh, why'd you change that? Why'd you change that line?" Like it would, God. And sometimes when they say the exact same line, it didn't hit the same way as it did in the game. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't. But it's always like a hit or miss situation. Sometimes you can't escape that. But overall, I thought it was a good episode, and I continue to watch it every Sunday.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're referring to, Ro, in terms of the character or two characters that essentially swapped. And yes, I do agree with you, and I definitely hear what people are saying, that there could be some interesting implications from them making the choice that they made. My thoughts are, I guess we'll just have to see on that. And I think, it's still some of my issues with the show are things that I talked about last week, so I'm not going to keep re-harping on the same thing every single week. But I do want to share this because, and to preface this, I did not tell this coworker any of my thoughts, nothing. My coworker has been watching The Last of Us season 2 as well. He watched season 1, and I literally got a text on Sunday night that said, "The Last of Us, you fucking kidding me?" Question mark. So, I mean, that does sum it up a little bit. He told me the next day that, yeah, his wife was watching with him too, and she was not happy. Like, she stormed out of the room. She's like, "I'm not watching this anymore." And I was like, well, that's interesting.
Neither of them have played the game, I'm assuming.
No, they've not. They know nothing about the games. Yeah, they're completely and apparently his kids are like really in tune. So like they tuned in to to, like, they came into the room while they were watching, just because they knew what was going to happen and they wanted to see their parents' reaction, which is hilarious. But yeah, my same issue still stands with that story decision, but I do understand and respect people that don't share the sentiment. So.
Oh, wait for me.
Just in case.
Do you have thoughts?
I've seen numerous clips online. They're obviously out of context because I'm not watching season 2, and I've read interviews with Mason and Druckmann about certain changes and what they're doing. Because I still want to be in the discursive talk with you guys to some extent. And yeah, everything I've read and everything I've seen just makes me happy that I decided not to watch season 2. Because I don't think I'd be happy with there's all the issues with season 1 where I'm like, I'm not happy with this line delivery, I'm not happy with this slight change, you're mischaracterizing this person because of this small change. Lots of things. Even with like Abby's character, I'm like, that's an odd rewrite. This is an odd decision. Things that I think make it I would go so far as to say worse than different. I would say like an inferior version, but like Rose saying, that will always be a fool's game to be comparing it to the source material, because I guess, translating it to a different medium, it is a new text. So I get it. That's why I'm not watching.
Fair enough.
One thing that I did really like was the attack on Jackson with the
I did
infected and
not.
stuff like that.
I've
You
seen
didn't like
the
it?
clips.
I thought it was a really tense. Why didn't you like it?
Are we the one specific scene?
Just that
with
scene,
the
yeah.
with the thing on the thing on the back, and it's almost out. And
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I thought that was a little cheap.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, yeah.
That's the clip I saw. I don't have the full context of the actual sequence, so if it's there's more tense stuff there, then yeah, it works there. I'm also really unhappy with the lighting choices in this show, from what I've seen.
Yeah, me too.
choosing like realistic natural light over like intentional framing and lighting is certainly a choice.
Yeah.
That yeah, the thing about that scene in particular being cheesy, me and Gage were talking about it immediately after, because so what happened was I got home Sunday night from Easter with the family, and Gage is like, "Oh, Last of Us, you want to do a Discord watch along?" It's like, bitch, you fucking know what happens and you want to fucking do this thing. And I had texted him, I'm like, my coworker already pretty much spoiled it for me. I didn't tell him to text me. I didn't expect him to text me that this was happening. So I already know that this happened. So anyways, I got home, watched it with Gage in Discord, and we were talking about some of the things that we thought were a little bit cheesy, and I agree that scene in particular was a little bit cheesy in my opinion, but I totally respect you thinking differently, Ro.
No, for clarification, I agree that scene was cheesy. I was more so talking about the build up.
Oh, okay.
And the rest of
I got you.
The attack. But yeah, that scene with that character was a little much for sure.
Yeah. I think I liked the infected actually attacking the wall. I thought there was some very cool moments in that. Yeah, but very interesting. All right, let's dive into Fantasy Critic, the Fantasy Draft check-in. We don't have any updates this week in terms of pickups, but we do have one update, I believe, just one. For me, of course, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 got a 91 on OpenCritic right now. Of course, that's subject to change, but right now giving me 22 points. Huge.
Huge.
Oh shit! And I'm reading the disclaimer here on Fantasy
Oh,
Critic.
yeah. Thank you for the reminder. Yeah, you go ahead and read it.
Yes. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, which I also have on my list, and their disclaimer here says, after extensive Discord debate, we have decided that this is a remake despite the name. It is not going to change, so you will need to override in your leagues if you disagree. And then
I which is a wild thing to put out there when they're so rigid with their 3 different versions of how remakes, remasters, and partial remakes work.
I think
You get me?
Yes, I do get you. I think that, like we were saying before, I think that this game is very tricky in that I don't think that it's necessarily like black and white. Like, I think that's the troubling part. Like, it is like a gray area. Because Gage, I was on the side before we even got like more information or anything. I was on the side where I was like, I think this is like mainly a visual upgrade, and then Gage was the one to convince me to the other side, saying that no, I think it should be a remake, because like they're doing all these other things with gameplay systems, and they're touching other parts of the game and modernizing it to like a current game, not necessarily like changing things like in expeditious fashion, but like I don't know, it's definitely a very interesting conversation to have. But that was Gage convincing me, and then I was like, okay, I think right now I am like, if there's the line between remake and remaster, I think I'm literally like right next to the remake line, like right next to the line that switches from remaster to remake. I think that's where,
which is why they have a tag called partial remake.
That's true. That's true.
That's true.
But do we allow partial remakes on ours? I can't remember.
On our league, no.
Oh, okay.
Full remakes, yes, because we consider that like RE4 remake. That's an actual remake. This to me looks
Right.
like partial remake territory.
Interesting.
And they were just like, you know what? Deal with it.
Well, then I guess we'll have to take a vote and see where we land, and override.
Oh, I guess we
it.
could do that, huh?
Yeah, that's what I would do. Yeah, I mean, it's my game, so I'm volunteering
You're
it
gonna
up
vote
for.
stays?
Huh?
You're gonna vote that it stays, right?
Well, of course I'm gonna vote for it to stay because it's my game, but it's up to you guys. I leave the game's fate up to you guys. And we can always go back to this next week as well when Gage is back to ask his thoughts, because maybe his thoughts have changed since I talked to him.
Right.
Yeah,
we can wait for Gage. Right now, I'm leaning more towards whatever the Fantasy Critic says is fine by me. If they decide it, then so be it. Whatever. Who am I to play God?
And maybe there won't be any reviews, because right now there's 0 reviews for. Actually, I'm sorry. I think there was 1 review, and it was by Xbox something. Xbox something gave it a 9 out of 10, and I'm like, well, yeah, okay, that checks out. I don't know.
Sorry, I'm doing some NBA sports betting right now.
Oh, that sounds dangerous. Xbox Era has given it a 9 out of 10. They're the only ones to review the game thus far, which I don't even know how you would.
They reviewed an RPG. The game just dropped yesterday, no?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how you would finish it in time to be able to review it, but apparently Xbox Era did. I mean, Xbox is in their name, so surely they're impartial, right? All right. That is. Oh, so run down our points real quick here. In last place, but only because he only has 2 games that have released. Christian Macias with 36 points. Second to last place, I hate to do that to you, Ro, but Row Your Boat Games with 39 points.
Ooh.
In second place, Gage, Okie Dokie Inc. with 41 points. You both have 3 games released. And then I have 5 games released for 70 points, and soon to be a 6th if we decide to keep Oblivion Remastered whenever that gets reviewed. So there is our fantasy draft check-in. Into what you got for me, Daniel. What do you have for me? Well, Daniel, just to talk a little bit more this week about Split Fiction. Me and Gage played a bit more of Split Fiction over on Friday, I think. Thursday? I don't know. Thursday last week. And the more I play of this game, the more I love this game. I think that they absolutely cooked with the story and the gameplay of the campaign. I think it's really varied, even more so than It Takes Two. Like, It Takes Two was already a very varied game in terms of gameplay, and like this game is even more so. Like, and I do think that's partially because like they don't have like the mini game type things that It Takes Two had, which I loved the mini game stuff. Like that was some of my favorite parts of It Takes Two. But Split Fiction does have more varied environments and mechanics, with every single level feeling like a completely different genre of game almost. Like we played a side scroller that reminded me of Shadow Complex back in the day, which was super fun. We've played third person shooter. There's so many different genres that this game is doing, and it's doing it well. That's what's crazy. It's like the fact that they have such a small team like cooking on this so hard. It's really awesome. And personally, I think that this story connects with me more in Split Fiction. Like, not to say that It Takes Two's story wasn't good. I think its story was good, but the presentation like felt very like dry for me because of like how stiff the character animations and stuff were, which I think was a bit of the jankiness of them kind of feeling out the engine back then. And like now I feel like they've figured out that kind of stuff a little bit more. So like this feels like a more polished like experience to me. So like thus far, Split Fiction I think might be my favorite game from Hazelight. And excited to finish it at some point. Ro, what you got?
I decided to boot back up Metaphor ReFantasio. Continued to slowly make my way through that game. 30 hours in, still having a good time. I still think there's a lot more to go based on where I seem to be in the story, which is great for me. But yeah, taking my time with it, still enjoying it. Obviously, one of the Game of the Year nominations for last year. So yeah, great game. Nothing crazy that I haven't said already, but yeah, still making my way through that.
And you're also playing GTA 6.
You're not supposed to tell you.
Oh shit! I was supposed to tell you that you're playing it. Fuck. Shit. Christian, what you got?
I wish Gage were here. So I'm gonna save these thoughts for next week. But we played over 15 hours of Rematch, including their ranked mode. And I'll just wait till he's back next week till we can hash that out.
Over 15? Did you say 15?
No,
1-5.
Ro.
1-5.
No,
Bro, you want to hear what happened?
So,
I was playing with them. I forgot to mention I was playing this, but I was playing with them for like 2 hours, I think, or 3 hours. I went to bed. The next day, Gage said, me and Christian were up like fucking 7 hours last night playing Rematch. I was like, what?
Yeah.
that's what I was saying. I heard 15. I heard 1-5, and I was still surprised.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
beta weekend, and then our last night we did our last game, and the beta ended literally like less than 30 minutes after we finished our match.
Respect.
I mean, and one of the clips that Gage said, "Is this game of the year?" And I responded, "It might be," as a joke. If there's any inclination of how we feel about the game, read into the subtext of that 30-second clip. And then I also played Clair Obscur Expedition 33 for work. I mentioned that last week that it was embargoed, and I can now mention that I've played it. I didn't beat it, but I made it through a good chunk of the Act 2, which is where like the game like opens up beyond even Act 1, and it is mighty. It is a really big game, way bigger than I thought it was going to be. All the stuff from my preview of the game, I think still hold up. I think the combat is the best part of the game. I think it is the most fun. Turns out though, into Act 2, also the most frustrating. Without getting too specific on it, they really lean into the parry mechanic of the game, and then there are different kinds of parries, and the punishment for not doing those is really big, but you also kind of have to parry to make it through those battles, because you also need to be getting your AP, which is how you do your special moves, and you have to do parries to get your AP back. And so the risk reward system is balanced towards the enemies. The thing that really sucks about it is the timing on it is really, really tight, and there's no way to visualize when an attack is coming. Normally, in a real-time third-person RPG, it's fine because I guess the punishment isn't as big. You can like run away and regroup or whatever and try again. But in a turn-based combat system, you take one hit from a missed parry and you're down like over half your health sometimes, and that can make the game go from fun to really frustrating really fast. If they tweak it a little bit once the game is out to the public, I think some fine tuning there might do it some good, and it might make the like middle game to post game a bit easier to chew on. I will say I'm not as high as I was from the preview event, because I was kind of assuming that a little bit of the jank and a little bit of the kind of rough edges would be polished out. And it turns out most of them are still there, and it's just how the game operates. But you have to remember, again, it's a game. It's the first game from a new studio with 30 people, and the swing they took is quite the swing indeed. And I'm happy to have games of this caliber be put out into the world. So I'm very happy with the scores that it got. I think it's incredible for the team. I'm a little bit lower than that, but I still think it's a good time. The only bummer that I have is that Rematch came out at the same time as when I was supposed to be playing it for like work reasons and also for pleasure. And as soon as Rematch came out, I did not think about Expedition 33 once the entire weekend. Not once, until I was back on my desk on Monday. Good game though. Balatro modded is crazy.
I will say I forgot about Rematch. The 3 hours I played, the very beginning hours of that game are extremely frustrating because there is a bit of a learning curve, especially with certain aspects.
You left when we discovered there's more tutorial.
Right. No,
we just didn't tab over.
Oh no, I knew there was more tutorial, but I had Gage in my ear. Before you joined us, I had Gage in my ear screaming, "We don't need a tutorial, Dad. Just jump in." I'm like, okay.
He shouldn't have done that. What the hell?
Yeah. So we jumped in. He played the basic tutorial. I played the basic tutorial, and then we just jumped in. So that's how. And it is a bit of a steep learning curve if you don't play the full tutorial.
If you don't know how to play the game.
Yeah.
When you left, I made him do the full tutorial. I told him, I'm going to do this. You should too. And we learned like actual mechanics of the game. And we went back into game and we were like started crushing. It's like, okay, well, yeah, obviously. It's a slow clap game.
Absolutely.
They're really good at mechanics.
Yeah. Now, to be fair to Gage, I didn't press him on doing the advanced tutorial. I was just like, all right, fine, I'll jump in and just have a good time. So, but I think by the end of it, I was having to do what?
casual style, kind of like pick up
Yeah.
and play kind of mentality. Yeah.
Yeah. I think by the end of it, I was having a good time. Once you kind of figure it out a little bit. But yeah.
I'll say one more thing. When I first got on there, because you guys were already playing, Gage said, "Hey man, the skill floor for this game is pretty high," which I figured because these guys made Absolver and Sifu. But he's not wrong. It was once you're in a match, it was kind of difficult to kind of like wrap around. Like, okay, shit, rainbow flick, push the ball, pass.
There you have it. All right. Thank you again to everyone joining us live on YouTube and Twitch, as well as podcast services everywhere, including Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, Spotify, and everywhere else you get your podcast. Thank you, Ro. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Gage, who will return. I am Daniel, and this has been Podcast PXN, and we are out. Much love, and keep on gaming.
See ya.
Warriors versus Rockets tonight. Game 2.